Jai Shriman Narayana. Namaskaram. Wishing all of us a very very happy Tamil New Year. Tamil Puttandu Vaalthukal. What is the significance of New Year? Tamil New Year is celebrated when Sun completes one cycle and enters the Mesha Rashi again. So if we look at that, we understand that whenever there is a cycle completed and something starts, there is a possibility of newness in it. And that's why we celebrate it, because there is a possibility of newness. Whether it is seasons, whether it is day and night, whether it is in-breath, out-breath, whether it is something that I didn't understand earlier and now I understand better. All this are part of experiencing that newness. And so even though this video is not about Vishnu Sahasranamam Slokam, I wanted to share this and link it with the new understandings that have emerged during this project. More to emerge, but just wanted to share something that got revealed by just engaging with this project for all of us. So before starting the project, my understanding was that I have heard Vishnu Sahasranamam chantings from M.S. Amma's version, from Chinnajiyar Swami's version, and I have listened to them and I knew that it is 1000 names of Lord Mahavishnu in 108 slokam. There is a Purva Pitika, there is a Uttara Pitika, so the structure and all. But I didn't know that the acharyas of three philosophies, Dvaita, Advaita and Vishishta Advaita, have written commentaries on Vishnu Sahasranamam. That was a revelation for me, and that was something new that I learned. So I understood, okay, now why these three acharyas have written these commentaries is because they see Vishnu Sahasranamam from those philosophies. And so I engaged with a book that is mentioned in the reference, book written by, actually two books, one by Kanchi P.B.A. Swami, another by his disciple, Dr. M.A. Venkatakrishnan Swami. Kanchi Swami has written only the Vishishta Advaita version. M.A.V. Swami has written all three versions, the names, the meanings, and a little bit of wherever there are differences, why. So during this engagement, I came to know so many things. So I'm just going to share one example. So the way Advaita philosophy looks at one slokam and breaks down into different words can be different from the way Vishishta Advaita philosophy looks at it and breaks it down. That is one part. That is fine. The other one which came as a surprise to me was this 51st slokam. So let us hear the two versions of 51st slokam. And before I share what is the difference, let's see if we can understand the difference or if we can spot the difference. Dharma gubdharma kridharmi sadasatksharamaksharam avijñāta sahasramshuh vidhāta kritalakshanaha. This is one version. The next one, Dharma gubdharma kridharmi sadaksharamasatksharam avijñāta sahasramshuh vidhata krita lakshanaha. The difference is in the second phrase where we talk about Sat Aksharam, Asat Ksharam. The Advaita philosophy talks about Sat, Asat, Ksharam, Aksharam. These four are four principles. Sat, truth; Asat, falsehood; Ksharam, the one that can be destroyed; Aksharam, the one that is indestructible. Now, we can learn so much about the base of the philosophies just by using this phrase. Advaita philosophy brings to us the principles, at least in this context of this phrase, right? These four principles. Vishishtadvaita philosophy also talks about these four principles but also connects them even in this short phrase. This connection, Sat Aksharam, Asat Ksharam. Sat, the truth; Aksharam, cannot be destroyed; Asat, falsehood, can be destroyed. Ksharam. And that talks about everything that you read about Vishishtadvaita philosophy, because that connection is so much important there. The principles are important too. Similarly, in Advaita philosophy also there are connections. But I am just taking this particular short phrase example to highlight both philosophies. So this was a wow moment for me, a learning moment for me. The same phrase can also be used to understand human emotions and human behaviors. For example, if I were used to listening only the Vishishtadvaita version, then when somebody chants the Advaita version, what will be my immediate response? Will my response be to find out why they are chanting something different, or to tell them that you are wrong? What would be my first response if I have never experienced different philosophies, right? So it made me feel that when we understand the differences, and that too, these are not people with low awareness, these are acharyas who have written the commentaries. When they are of that caliber, that awareness level, we are nowhere near them. Should we try to find out why they would have said something the way they have said? And can it reveal something that is helpful for us in this life, in this moment to apply? Because once I understood this, next time when I hear something, I wouldn't immediately jump into a judgment that something is wrong. I would ask, why is it so? Why is it different? That doesn't mean that I will always take that something is always right. I would ask, why is it like this? And I would like to understand. So that's something that I learned through this process. Then similarly, expanding this to, other philosophies, other traditions as well, whether it is Vedantic philosophies, Zen meditation, or Ho'oponopono practice, healing, another healing modality, or any other healing practice, Reiki, all of these address something very similar. That is, what is in our control, what we have to do, and what is the blessings that we already receive. So all these practices can be linked to Vedantic philosophies and to each other. That is the beauty of any healing modality. Krishna says to Arjuna, Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You have control over your karma, not over the result. And why so? Because the choice is given for you to think some way, to feel some way, to do some way. That's the choice given to you. But the result of that choice is not with you. Why? Because there are so many other factors that influence the course of that energy or the action that's going to start once you make the choice. So it also revealed to me the balance of the effort and the blessings, understanding of what I can do so that I can make better choices, and what I can do so that I clean myself, I purify myself to receive the blessings and accept the blessings in whichever way they are coming, because everything that is coming my way is a blessing and it's a practice. And just because I am speaking with so much conviction about this doesn't mean that I have reached a level where it's all there in the practice. I am a work in progress and I do want to be in that path. So I daily reflect, and the meditation practices that we do help us do that. Because it's a journey. We will reach some level, we'll fall back, we'll again get up, we'll reach some other level, we'll fall back. Sometimes we may fall back so badly that it feels like, oh my God, I have come so low than the earlier phase. All these are part, but the underlying belief that matters so much for us to come back again and try again. And I felt that that's also the difference between Vedic science and modern science. Modern science approaches awareness from the gross matter, that is, which we can measure, which we can see, the body level things. Vedic science approaches from the subtle, that is, the Jivatma Paramatma, from there to the mind to the body. It also sees everything. The modern science has started from the body and it wants to see. So these two approaches are inherently different. And if we appreciate the uniqueness and the strengths that each of these approaches are giving us, we can blend both. It need not be one or the other. It can be together. But we have to be engaging with the practitioners of these approaches which understand these collaboration more. So I am sure for the remaining slokams, there will be so many revelations that's going to happen as we, research and as we chant and as we practice. And I hope you all join us and you're all there with us during this journey. Deeply appreciate your support, and may this Tamil New Year remind us of that freshness, that presence that we all need in our daily lives to see what is coming our way, what new thing is coming our way, and let's be ready to receive that new thing with utmost gratitude and grace. Thank you so much. Jai Shriman Narayana.